Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thank you for being with us on our program. As always, we need to start things off with a little contact information. We want to let you know how to get in touch with us. If you have an idea for our program, it's very simple. Just send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv, cbrady@tv24.tv. Now, we want to know about the interesting things that are going on in your community. Fairs, festivals, special events, things like that are going on with your church or your community group, all those kind of things that are going on make great topics for East Alabama Today. And you guys are our eyes and ears out on the streets. You let us know what's going on, and you never know, you might find yourself or someone you know as a guest on the program. Now, we're also looking for the interesting people who live in your community. Maybe you know someone who's a writer, an artist, or a musician. Maybe they just have an odd or an interesting hobby and you think they'd be a great guest for the program. It's exactly who we're talking about. So send me their information as well, cbrady@tv24.tv. Now, coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about something called the Anniston Project, and it has nothing to do with the city of Anniston. I'll have the details coming up, so stay with us. And hello, everyone. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. Again, I'm Carl Brady. My guest today is Allan Rhodes. Allan, welcome to the program.
Carl, good to be with you.
Good to have you here. And this may be a name, a face, or a voice that you might recognize. Now, Allan lives in Huntsville and works in Huntsville now, but you have a little history in the East Alabama area, don't you?
I do. I came from Huntsville down here in 1978. Went to Jacksonville State. And ended up working in radio here in the Gadsden area for Wax Radio and just about everybody that was here that you could float around to, and also in the Anniston area. Yeah. Did play-by-play for football, basketball, and baseball at Jacksonville State for years. So, yeah, I've been around.
Yeah, absolutely. So, face and a name people are going to know, and after today, a story, an interesting story that people are going to know. Now, Allan is in the process of preparing. You work as a video producer and editor, and you have a production company. But Allan's in the process of working on a movie project about your daughter, whose name is Anniston.
That's right. That's right.
And it's called the Anniston Project. So it's not about the city of Anniston, but it's a special project about your daughter. Right. Kind of give us an overview of that, then we'll go into some of the details.
Well, we've been writing down this story for a number of years, and it's turned into a project that we'd like to turn into a film project, turn it into Sundance Film Festival and some others. We've got a couple of smaller networks that would like to air it. And we have some commercials that are going out nationwide, even talking about it right now. But probably about, well, she turns 8 in March of this year, so a little bit over 8 years ago. Just to make a long story short, I had a dream one night that there was this little girl, and she was kind of in just a nowhere place, dark, just her kind of lit, if you were to get the picture of that. And my first instinct was, who is this little girl and where's her mom and dad? You know? Yeah. And so I went over to her and asked her that question, and I said, hey, what's your name? And she said, my name is Anniston. And I thought, okay, that's somewhat of an odd name. And then I kneeled down, looked her in the eye, and I said, well, where's your mom and dad? And in the dream, she said, you're my dad. And we walk off in the distance, woke my wife up and said, we're going to have a little girl. So a few months later, we found out we were pregnant, and Anniston was on the way. And we just could not name her anything but Anniston.
Right, after that, absolutely.
Right. So we were told within just a few months of finding out that we were pregnant and we were going to have a little girl, to go see a specialty doctor. And we had been through that before. My son, who's 10 years old now, just turned 10, he was coming along several months into the pregnancy, told to go see a specialty doctor, go get a sonogram here. And when we did, they diagnosed him with spina bifida. I had experience with spina bifida, and I had a cousin who was quadriplegic from it. So it was a pretty horrifying diagnosis to find out that your son would have that disease. And they immediately gave us, at that meeting, a piece of paper and said, you need to go abort this child. And, you know, that was just not in our cards. We just wanted to know, what do we need to do for this child that's on the way?
Right.
So we didn't. We got all the opportunity to watch him, you know, come through the development stage, and it was diagnosed spina bifida all the way to the day he was born, and he was born completely healthy. So we had a history 2 years prior, when Anniston's diagnosis came in, that she would have Down syndrome, a major heart defect, as well as they couldn't find a digestive tract. And same doctor, same diagnosis, same piece of paper. And our comment to him was, we're not doing that. And he said, it would be cruel to bring her into the world. And we're like, that's just not an option for us.
Right.
So we chose life for her and for my son. Of course, we'd had the experience that already that they can miss a diagnosis.
Yeah.
You know, so what we ended up doing is just a few months before she was born, we asked the OBGYN, what are you going to do when she gets here? Because we knew she would have Downs. We had a test called amniotesis that told us for sure.
Right.
We knew and could see the heart defect. And he said, well, we'll just deal with it when we get here. And we told him that wasn't good enough. Would you please send us somewhere? And he sent us to UAB in Birmingham. Went, saw the doctors there at the Kirkwood Clinic, and they gave us a lot of hope. They said, yes, she's got Downs. Yes, she has a heart defect, but you know, it looks like her digestive system's actually beginning to develop. And so there's a lot of hope. And then they said, whatever it is, we have a plan, and when she gets here, we'll be able to start doing this, this, and this, and fix it.
Right.
Well, she was born on March the 8th. She had Down syndrome. She was a few days early. And believe it or not, when an infant is born, there is a stent that is just below the heart that allows that infant to actually pass blood from the lungs through the rest of the body, even without a fully functioning heart. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
So we had like a 6-month period before that stent dissolves away to get the surgery on her heart. And I spent weeks driving back and forth to UAB from Huntsville, bringing, you know, mother's milk to her, and work all day, get the milk, drive all night, and I would feed her and really begin to bond, you know, during that 6 weeks period of time. Thinking all the time we could just bring her home. And I finally figured out, after listening to other people down there, that if you say the right things, you can bring her home. And so I figured out that Huntsville had just opened up a new NIC unit up there, a neonatal care unit. Asked them could she be transferred, and that day they transferred her to Huntsville. With 24 hours, she was home.
Yeah.
And so there's just an incredible story right there of just how we went through making the decisions of what we're going to do with her. We ended up going to Vanderbilt to have the heart surgery, in and out in 4 days.
Wow.
Back home with her. And then the whole process of really learning what it's like to be parents with a child with a disability started. A few months later.
Even just that part of it is an amazing story, but now you've got a whole 8 years of even more amazing stories.
My dad told me when my first daughter was born, said, you don't love her like you're going to love her down the road. I thought, man, I got this baby in my hand. How, that can't be true.
Yeah.
But it's true. As you get to really know these children and know your son, know your daughters, you really just, as a father, grow into that love that's just unimaginable. You don't know when they're first born how much you're going to love them.
Right.
And that's the way it is with Anniston. Every day is a new amazement with her. You know, early on, she didn't develop as fast as some would like for her to develop. She's still nonverbal, but she's very communicative. I mean, she can tell us exactly what she wants, and we know what she's wanting,
right? Because
we've lived there with her. You've got some video of her, you know, working on an iPad. We have games that she will use. There's a yes/no program that we download, and you can put questions in there with pictures, and she chooses yes or no on that. And just recently, you can start to hear her making even more sounds.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing story. She dances at a place called the Mary Mac in Huntsville. Alan Jenkins and his wife built this facility, and they have a group that travels all over the country of Down syndrome and children with disability. And Birmingham last week, I think they won first place. And I'll send you a link on that. But an amazing story about the 69 to 70 children with disabilities that dance at that studio. And Anniston dances there.
Yeah.
She's very, very good at twirling. She can twirl with the best of them. And she has her own mindset and her own personality. And we believe, my wife and I, that we found favor with God to be able to have her as our child.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with that. Well, what happened? Why did you get saddled with this responsibility?
Right, right.
And really, I think when you take a look at, well, it's not a challenge in that way. God found favor. We were blessed to have her. And that to me is...
Just anybody can't handle some of those challenges.
Well, we didn't think we could, really, to tell you. And it was a struggle to say, gosh, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
How are we going to do it? What kind of services are available to her? And she probably costs medical-wise less than my son. Because now that we've gone through all of the other issues, she's completely healthy.
Yeah.
We see the cardiologist once a year. An interesting story about the heart defect. It was called an aventricular heart defect. It meant that the center of her heart was missing. Now, she had 2 valves, but she didn't have a lower chamber.
Yeah.
They made a patch. I'm doing my hands like this because it just slid in there. And they created 4 valves out of the 2 that she had. And within just a matter of weeks, the heart tissue grew around that patch, and it dissolved away. So she has a fully functioning heart.
Yeah.
And that's just an amazing medical thing that they're able to do with a heart that's that big.
And on an infant as well.
That's right.
Well, we need to take a commercial break, so we'll do that right now and come back in just a moment with more of East Alabama Today and the incredible story of Anniston and the Anniston Project. We'll be right back. Welcome you back into East Alabama Today. Again, my guest is Allan Rhodes, and we're talking about the Anniston Project. And no, it's not a film or a movie project about the city of Anniston. It is a film project about your daughter, Anniston, who is 8 years old, who has Down syndrome, and the amazing story of her birth and the 8 years of her life to this point, and how you and your family have dealt with that issue and grown with that issue. And you've talked about this whole community of families with kids who have special needs, and how you all just kind of grow together and become a community like that. You're trying to put together this film project, and of course, like anything else, it costs money, and lots of money, to do a film project. So you're opening up the gates through a website called Kickstarter.com,
right,
that people can help you get this film made. Talk about that.
Well, we were looking at how do we afford to be able to do this, because it does take a lot of money to do a real film project. You have lights, you have cameras, you have producer, director, you have script writers. While it's our story, we're going to hand the story over to a script writer to write a real docudrama out of it. And then we'll have actors. And the Alabama Film Commission is really doing a lot right now to try to grow the film industry in Alabama. Yeah. And we're a part of that. And so the company that I have in Huntsville does a lot of video work for the U.S. Army and for NASA, and then other commercial projects. And we've had things that have been on Discovery Channel and other national things. So I've got a long history of doing projects and pretty well know what they cost. In this case, with us having the capability, we can keep the cost down somewhat, but it still takes a lot of time, effort, and money, and people have to be paid to do it.
Right.
So we were looking at how can we raise the money to do an independent film project like that, and Kickstarter came up. It has been a website that's been active for a little over 3 years. They have raised for the arts and other projects that they do $380 million in 3 years to fund other film projects and some really incredible technology. So if you have an idea, it's a great place to go put your idea in, submit it, and if you can raise the awareness of people and they want to contribute to that, then you get the money to do your project.
Yeah.
Kickstarter only takes like 5% to manage all of that, and then you have your credit card fees. So about 8% of your total budget is that, and then you get the rest of the money to do your project.
And it's interesting. It's kind of like those microfinancing websites and investment websites, but it's all on a donation type basis. You're not investing and getting points on the record project or anything like that. You are helping out people get their projects done.
Right. And some of the projects all of them actually have incentives down one side of the page, and you can contribute as little as $1 or up to $10,000 depending on what you want, if you like that project. And the money then is used by the artist or by the person doing the project to produce that effort. On the website, you give a pretty much daily update. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page, we have a main web page that is the HDC's, the company that we'll be working through. Main page that has an offshoot page that will have a blog, and you'll be able to keep up with everything that's going on. And we want to start the project early in April and end it sometime in October, and be ready to go to the next Sundance Film Festival to be able to then put it on like the Walk Network, which your TV station carries, and others. So, we want to get this project out. It's the amazing part of having just announced it is more and more people come up to us now and just talk to us about their situation, their story. And that's really why we've called it the Anniston Project, because we're going to tell more than just Anniston's story. We'll talk about other people who have children with disability and a little bit about their lives and how they're dealing with the issues related to that. So it's not simply just Anniston alone, but it's her project.
Right.
And we may deal too with some other issues in there that relate to the doctors and how to respond to whatever they're telling you is the medical diagnosis, and how we did it and others did made the decisions that they made. But the project itself has no theme to it in that realm. It is her story, others' story. The project is going to tell the lives of these kids.
Right.
I mentioned the Merrimack, and again, we'll post down on our website some videos that have been done on the kids that go dance. It's an amazing thing to see, what they do. We went to their Christmas deal, and to have 60 disabled kids with children with disabilities perform a Christmas play was amazing. Some were able to read the stuff, others acted, others danced, and the whole Christmas story was done right there on the stage by children with disability. And we'd like to tell that story as well, how Anniston is involved and the other kids that we know are involved in that kind of thing.
How can people help through Kickstarter and make contributions to this project?
I always hate to ask people for money, but there is no other way to get enough funds to produce this but to say, please consider. $1 helps. If we can reach 1 million people and get $1 a piece from 15%, we hit our goal. So a little bit helps, a little bit goes a long way. One of the incentives, you can be listed as a producer in the credits. Or we've got some T-shirts that'll be going out. We've got some wristbands, things that will show that you're a part of the Anniston Project. I've contributed to a couple of other projects that people are doing, and it really feels pretty good to watch their stuff and say, wow, that was a really neat idea. And while I don't have any financial gain from it, I do have satisfaction that I helped this person meet their goal and do their project, and it's out there.
And the best way to do that, you go to Kickstarter.com, and you'll see it'll automatically pull up a city near you, wherever you're at, but you can change that to Huntsville. and see the projects that are based in Huntsville, and you'll see the Anniston Project come up. Right. Click on that. It'll give you all the details, all the incentives that'll be a part of it, and give you a link there where you can make your contribution using your credit card, a debit card, and be a part of this. Know that you've been a part of this special project.
Well, thank you for saying that, and that's exactly how to do it. But spread the word too. If you don't feel comfortable going out and doing that, just tell people about it. Mm-hmm. It's a really good talking point to talk to others about it. And if you see a family with a child with disability in a restaurant, speak to them. Mm-hmm. We like that. There's one little girl that I know met recently, and on her Facebook page it said, her sister put out there, she doesn't feel like she's pretty. Mm-hmm. Would you like her page? Well, I happened to run into her in one of the restaurants in Huntsville a few days before, and she kept looking at us like, I know you, So knelt down, looked her in the eye, and talked to her about how pretty and beautiful she was, and she really is. Yeah. And they love to hear that. We love to do that. That just draws people together. And I'd say don't hesitate to talk to children with disabilities or families with them, because
that is something that and we don't have a lot of time to expand on this, but people see these children and they don't know what to do, don't know what to say, don't know how much they understand. Should I talk to them? Should I not talk to them? People just don't know what to do a lot of times.
That's part of what this whole project's about. And yes, talk to us. And like you mentioned earlier, it seems like a little club is set up once you have a child with disability. And I really regret earlier on in life not talking, kind of sitting back and staring a little bit. Well, I feel sorry for them. Don't feel sorry. We want to tell our story. We want people to know our children and to treat them as anybody else. When we go to church, Anniston goes right into a classroom, and she hears the word about Jesus just like any other child. And she goes into her classroom at school. They speak to them as people, and that's the important thing.
Absolutely,
is to make sure they understand that not only are they loved and they're special, but they're people.
Yeah,
right.
All right, time for us to take another commercial break. When we come back, just a quick wrap-up of things, and we'll say goodbye after this. Stay with us. Well, folks, our final segment with Allan Rhodes and the Anniston Project. And again, we want to encourage you simply, if you'd like to be a part of this project and to help get this project funded and get it made, simply go to Kickstarter.com, look for the Anniston Project there, and all the details are there. But you also have, you mentioned Facebook and websites. And tell us about those. How can people go and see more information?
On Facebook, just search for the Anniston Project. You should find that. Or look for me, Allan Rhodes, on Facebook, and it's linked down there as a page, so it'd be easy to find that way. Also, we have a Twitter account. It's called the Anniston Project, a life story. And then, of course, you have the HDC's website, which is the company that we work for, which would be THEHDC.com. Okay. And there it's linked at the bottom of the page.
All right. Sounds good. Allan, thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, sir.
Good luck with the project. Can't wait to see the final result and see how it does at Sundance, and I'm sure TV24 will be airing it as well for you. And folks, thank you for joining us here on East Alabama Today. Hope you have a great day, and we will see you again next time. Thanks for joining us.